Dr. Kenrick Moriyama. I'm the Chair and Program Director at Abington Memorial Hospital in Pennsylvania, and I've been asked to speak to you today about the issue of your job search and identifying some of the things that might be important to you as you consider opportunities available. I think to start out with, there are some questions that are very important that you need to ask yourself. The first is, what's important to you and your family? Remember, you never make these decisions in isolation if you have a family or a significant other. Second, what's important to you professionally? And third, what are your career goals? Both of these things will contribute to your decision as you look at different opportunities that are available out there. And finally, I think this is an important question that sometimes we forget. Did you enjoy the environment you were in as a resident or fellow? If you didn't, then it's quite possible you won't like a similar situation when you're out in practice. So for the first question, what's important to you and your family? I want you to consider this. You will be busy and fulfilled in the hospital, hopefully, and will likely be working long hours. Answer these questions for yourself. Will you be happy if you don't know what your family is doing? Is your spouse or significant other going to be happy where you have moved him or her? If not, there's a high likelihood you're going to come home to an unhappy household. It's going to be difficult to come home and share your trials and tribulations and successes at work if the person you're going to come home to is not happy where you are. Will you be able to get to your kids' activities? As you look at a job, find out, are there other people with young kids in the department? Do they have good family lives? Are they able to get to those activities? Because the question you need to ask yourself is it going to upset you if you're at work knowing that you're missing some of these special activities and events? Second question, what's important to you professionally? You need to identify for yourself what you want to be as a surgeon. Is it being the busiest clinician? If it is the job going to allow you to do this? Do you want to be a successful researcher? Do you have aspirations to be an academic surgeon? And if you do, are those opportunities going to be available in the job? Is the support going to be available? And are the people around you going to support you taking the time to do the research that you would like to do? Third thing is, as you go through the interview process, think about whether you like the people who are going to be your partners. If you don't like them during the interview, there's a high probability you're not going to like them when you work with them. Do the people who you are going to work with have a good work-life balance? If they don't have a good work-life balance and that's important to you, it's quite likely that you will be unhappy. And then finally, are you looking at a job at a big-name institution, and is this important to you? Does that cachet of the big-name institution mean something to you, and is it going to help you as you move forward in your career? You have to also remember that many big-name institutions have a lot of people who can help you grow your academic career or help you grow professionally. So it's not just about the institution, it's about the people who you work with in that institution. What are your career goals? Are you interested in climbing the academic ladder to be a chair or chief? If you are, then you need to know or have an understanding of whether this job is going to help you take those steps up the ladder. Your first job won't necessarily be your last job unless you're going to a private independent practice. So as you do this, ask yourself, will the job prepare you for taking that next step administratively, academically, and nationally? Are you interested in being a successful academic researcher? If you are, you need to make sure you clearly identify what resources you will need and what support will help you as you move forward in your endeavors. It's difficult to go to a department where research is not emphasized or is actually de-emphasized and say you're going to build a strong research career. The resources may not be there, but more importantly, you may not have the proper leadership and mentorship to ensure that you will be successful. Are you interested in being a leader regionally or nationally? And if you are, then you need to look at the people in that department. It's more difficult to become a leader regionally or nationally if the people in the department don't view that as an important part of their careers. It's difficult to advocate for yourself. You will have to go and find mentors and advocates who are outside your department, and that can be difficult for young people. Is it important for you to have some control over your financial situation? If it is, then you need to look at the kinds of compensation structures in the different jobs you're looking at. In an academic practice or an employed practice, you really are your salary and the ability to make more money is fixed, and the ability to make more money is actually somewhat limited. So you have to be comfortable that this is the kind of financial situation you would like to be in. And these are evolving constantly. So ask the right questions and be sure that you understand this. This is where having a contract attorney may actually help you, but it's actually not 100% necessary if you're comfortable with what you are reading. Do you want to retire by age 60? I know that for a young person this might seem like an odd question, but in truth, most of us would like to retire at some point, and in some positions you might not ever be able to retire. So you have to think about this. You have to think about the situation you're looking into. Did you enjoy the environment you were in as a resident or fellow? This might seem like an odd question, but if you think about your training, if you were unhappy and miserable throughout your training, then getting into a similar type of employment model or practice model may not be in your best interest. If you were unhappy with the people, or the people you trained under seemed unhappy all the time, there's a likelihood you might be unhappy in that similar situation. Secondly, we all have mentors during the course of our training, and you have to ask yourself, do you see yourself growing up to be the kind of surgeon who you trained under? And if the answer is yes, then a similar job situation might be good for you. And if the answer is no, then you need to think long and hard about whether the people were unhappy because of the type of job they were in.